On Sunday, the 2nd of September 1666, a massive fire broke out in London. It raged on for several days, finally coming to an end on Thursday, the 5th of September. During this brief period, it ravaged the entire old city enclosed within the Roman city walls. The fire obliterated 87 churches and destroyed 13,000 homes of Londoners. St. Paul's Cathedral was notably damaged and most of the government buildings were burned to the ground. This part of London had an estimated population of 80,000 people, and the fire rendered more than 72,000 residents of central London homeless. Even now, the exact number of fatalities from the Great Fire remains unknown. Record keeping at that time was imprecise, especially regarding the deceased, and many victims were completely consumed by the flames, making identification of remains nearly impossible. History records that the fire started in the bakery of Thomas Fariner on that fateful Sunday night. The city was predominantly made up of wooden buildings, making it highly vulnerable to such catastrophic fires. At that time, the most effective firefighting strategy in London involved demolishing buildings around the source of the fire to prevent it from spreading to other structures. The mayor of London, Thomas Bloodworth, decided not to order the demolition of buildings, believing the fire that had started to be insignificant. However, the fire brigades were unable to control the rapid spread of the fire. By the time they began demolishing houses, it was too late. The fire had gained momentum and spread faster than the citizen could demolish buildings in its path. The fire was finally contained on Wednesday or Thursday using barrels of gunpowder to create gaps between houses. This stopped the spread of the fire, which by that point had nearly destroyed the entire old city. Charles II, who was the ruler of England at that time, even feared a possible revolt. Therefore, he advised Londoners whose homes were destroyed by the Great Fire to relocate to other cities, rather than wait for a quick reconstruction of London. Some historians believe that the Great Fire of London was in fact a beneficial event and may have even saved tens of thousands of lives. This perspective is linked to the plague outbreak that struck London in 1665, part of the second global plague pandemic. After the Great Fire, the plague epidemic in London rapidly diminished. There were rumors circulated by the government at the time suggesting that the fire had cleansed the city and helped eradicate the dreaded disease. However, this theory has its weaknesses. For instance, Daniel Defoe argued that claims of the Great Fire defeating the plague were ludicrous. He presented significant arguments, noting that the plague also receded in neighboring areas of London and in nearby towns where no fire occurred. Those who support the theory point to a simple correlation. The Great Fire destroyed rats and mice, which were carriers of the fleas that transmitted the plague in London. After the fire, most of these rodents perished, and it's possible that those from neighboring areas relocated due to a sense of danger. This could explain the sudden decline of plague cases following the fire. It's impossible to definitely say that the plague in London was eradicated solely by the fire. However, the fire could have contributed to altering the course of the deadly diseases pandemic. Interestingly, no one was officially found responsible for starting the fire. In 1667, a London court ruled the Great Fire as an accident. Nonetheless, Londoners found and hanged a Frenchman named Robert, despite rather contradictory evidence for the arson of the bakery. It was later revealed that Robert had arrived in London 2 days after the fire had started. Moreover, the Great Fire of London initiated the concept of fire insurance. In 1667, the insurance company called the Fire Office was established, beginning the practice of insuring property against fire damage.